Hi, I'm Callum Pepper, and tonight, in place of our regular Tulip Talk programme, we have something a little bit special, which involves over 30 young members of our community. For the last 10 weeks, Tulip Radio has been involved in a project with pupils from the Glebe Schools in Spalding, the Priory School and the George Farmer Technology College in Holbeach. This project has been funded by MediaBox and the Department for Children, Schools and Family, and has been running in conjunction with the Lincolnshire and Rutland Education Business Partnership. This project has been led by pupils from these schools who have all contributed ideas and thoughts about their current and future lives in the South Holland district, focusing on issues that concern them now as well as problems they might want to address in the future. Now, Ross and I have been involved in this project as well, and the pupils realised as a local broadcaster we could probably help them get some of their ideas and thoughts across using radio as a mean for discussion. Now, we decided that in order to publicise our concerns effectively, maybe an established journalist could come along and give us tips on the best way of doing this. Tulip Radio enjoys a friendly links with BBC Lincolnshire and Chief Editor Andy Fount. Andy Fount came down from Lincoln one afternoon and gave us all an insight into the life as a radio journalist, and here's what he had to tell us.
When I was your age, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do, but for the past 28 years I've been a journalist. I started off in newspapers, worked in newspapers for 3 years in Hull, Oxford, Sheffield and Lincoln, and then I joined the BBC. Initially on a 6-month contract, and this is my 26th year with them. And at the BBC I've worked in local radio in BBC Lincolnshire, where I was news and sport producer. Has anybody heard of a guy called John Inverdale on the television who does sport? Anyway, he was the news and sports producer before me. And then I went down to work for BBC World Service for 6 months in London. Then I came back to Lincoln, then I went back to BBC World Service for 3 or 4 years. And during that time, I did things like work overnight shifts in Lincoln on a Friday and Saturday night, which wasn't very good because you're driving into work in the centre of London and everybody's outside having a drink on a Friday and Saturday night and you've got to work right through the night. But the good thing was, when I was there as well, I also interviewed Chris Patton in Government House in Hong Kong. I covered Test match cricket in the Caribbean. I did the Cricket World Cup in Sri Lanka and India. I did a big tournament in Kuala Lumpur for 3 weeks. Oh, I went all over the place. Oh, I did the Ryder Cup golf in Spain. I thought, this is good. I'm getting paid to go all over the world, speaking to some of the most famous sportsmen at the time, staying in nice hotels, travelling to countries that I'd never have gone to. I thought, this is all right. But obviously that was too good. That was too enjoyable. So I came back into local radio, where it's much less glamorous. You have to work harder. And because I come from Cornwall, I went to work for BBC Radio Cornwall for 3 years. So I had a lot of friends in Lincolnshire. I came back. So that's a brief resume of what I'm about. But when I was your age, I did not have a clue what I wanted to do. I thought, I like writing, so I'll be a journalist. I found out actually that although liking writing helps, it's only about that much about being a journalist. Being a journalist or a reporter, whether it's news or sport or politics or health or education or science or nature or environment, or it's out there. I could send you guys out to Spalding High Street now and you could find me 3 or 4 or 5 stories. You probably don't know they're there now, but if I point out to you what kind of things you're looking for, you could all come back with stories. And journalism is all about storytelling. If you can write out that story well, they're great. But the best thing about being a journalist is to tell stories and find stories. You've got to be able to find the stories to tell them. So that's the only advice I would give to anybody who thinks they ought to be a journalist or reporter, is if you're curious and you like finding stories, don't worry so much at this stage about, oh, I'm not very good at writing, or I'm not very good at talking, or I'm not very good at web thing. That'll all come. But you've got to have that natural curiosity. My girlfriend's always going on this. When you stop asking questions? Oh, well, that's just what I do. Or when I watch the television, when I watch a sport on the television, I just go, oh, he's got a long putt to hold there. That's a difficult putt. And the commentator then goes, that's a long putt to hold there. And he's got to answer, well, just naturally. It's not what I do naturally. So if you like telling stories and you're nosy and you're a bit gobby, if you work in radio, that helps as well. Then I think being a journalist has a lot to offer. That's the end of my speech. Is that long enough?
After that, our curiosity was aroused, and we decided that we needed to take Anya's advice and go and look for a local angle on some problem or activity that most of us will have to deal with within the next few years. Now, the South Holland district is a pretty large, and many of us live in places miles from anywhere, and we'll very probably need to learn to use the roads as cyclists, motorcyclists, or drivers. We also knew of a few people who have been involved in road accidents in this area, and we felt as young people moving to adulthood we should try and get the best advice on how to stay safe and use the roads responsibly, even perhaps accepting advice on how to get to school safer. We talked to the Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership, who run driver awareness courses, offering advice to schools and also providing driver education courses for the Department of Transport. And they invited our entire group to a road safety day at their new facility between Sleaford and Boston.
Hi, I'm Ross, and when we went there on a lovely early summer day, we had the chance to experience many of the demonstration units, as well as actually driving a car. Firstly, there was a basic pedal cycle course laid out for us all to have a go at. We also had to wear special beer goggles, which give a very strange sensation, as Jordan explained when I asked him what the whole thing was like.
It was all about getting on a bike and learning about how good your skills were, and learning other tactics. Glasses of what it's like when you've been drinking. It's like trying to show you, if you've not been drinking, it's like to show you what it's like. So it's like you can't focus on what you're supposed to be doing. So it's like harder. So like we've like tried it without the goggles, and then we like tried them with them on, and it's a lot different.
I also asked Jake what wearing the goggles was like.
The drunk simulation ones, they say you have 4 units of alcohol. That's what it would be like.
What is 4 units of alcohol then?
1.5 wine glasses, or 3 of those, or 2.5 of those. I think they're shots, I'm not sure.
After this, we went into a huge mobile classroom where animated videos were being shown, which showed how riding mopeds with your mates can get you in all sorts of trouble, and just how a simple act of showing off can get you seriously hurt. And here's a couple of people's reactions.
What is the most important thing you've learned from the classroom session?
To wear protective clothing while riding a moped.
Do you think this is a good way to teach people about driving?
Yes, because it shows them the dangers in a comical way.
Would you recommend this activity to your friends?
Yes, I'll tell them it's a very good experience.
Do you think young drivers are more dangerous than other drivers?
Yes, and drivers that also go slow are also as dangerous.
Why is that?
Why? Because they're putting other people at risk because other people want to overtake and go on the right speed while they're not.
Do you think you will be a safe driver?
Maybe.
Miss Mayfield from the George Farmer also asked Jake on what lessons he learned about riding mopeds.
I've learnt about on mopeds that don't get distracted and don't start talking to your mates while you're going along.
Do you think you'd like to ride a moped?
I probably would, really looking at them and thinking, never driven one of these before, but should be a good experience.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Good.
We then moved across to the crash simulator, which was a cool looking pimped hatchback with huge speakers in the back. When we got in it though, things were a bit different, and we realised what could happen if we were speeding on a back road, like lots of the roads in Lincolnshire. Here's Jack and Dominic talking about their experiences inside.
Could you describe what happens on the virtual journey you take in the car?
Well, this teenager's just brought his girlfriend or friend back home, and his other friend's like, oh, do you know how much speeding it goes? He goes, no. So they go take it for a drive, and then he's like speeding really fast down this like quiet road, but loads of turns and hills and that. And then it goes too fast, and then he goes over this hill, loses control, and then the crash happens. So it's just showing you what could happen if you're like just messing about down a quiet road.
How realistic do you think the simulator was?
I didn't think it was very realistic, but it was good to see what would happen in that. But it wasn't really properly what would happen. But it's good, yeah.
Do you think it described a lot about what could happen on the real road?
Yeah, on the video it showed quite a lot of what could happen in that, and about safety and that. The actions in the car movement wasn't very good, but the video explained a lot.
Has it made you think differently about speeding?
Yeah, and especially speeding and looking where you're going. and like the heights and hills of the road. So yeah.
Do you think it was similar to like a video game you've played or something?
Yeah, very, like always speeding and going off roads and that, like GTA, San Andreas, stuff like that. Yeah.
What was it like inside the car?
It was very dark, little screen, normal car inside though, but yeah, it's pretty nice inside. Nice speakers and that, good movement and that. Yeah, it's alright.
Did you feel insecure when the car started moving?
No, I thought I did when I went in, but then when you're inside you think, oh, it's just a laugh and good experience, so it's fine when you're in there. You didn't feel claustrophobic or nothing.
Was your virtual journey scary?
I wouldn't say scary, but you was like anxious to see when the crash was coming. You knew it was coming, but you just really wanted to see what it was like when it happened, so it wasn't scary.
Would you recommend a crash simulator to your mates?
Yeah, I would. It's alright. It's funny when you're inside and when the smoke comes out at you, you just like have a laugh, but it's not always a laugh. You got to think serious about the safety issues and like what happened if that could have happened to you. So,
thank you, Dominic Mason.
Others had some thoughts after going inside as well.
What was it like inside the car?
Well, it was amazing.
How did it feel when the car started moving around?
Great. Oh, this is wicked.
Was it different or similar to a video game?
Well, it's similar, but I won't say it's like a video game.
Has it made you think differently about speeding?
Oh yeah, I don't know what happened.
No, because I wasn't going to speed anyway. I'm not stupid enough.
Others discussed what they'd learned about the dangers.
It felt like you were really experiencing it when the car crashed.
It actually felt real. After you went over a bridge, it actually felt like you crashed.
Yeah.
It actually real life.
Yeah, it showed you what are the dangers of going too fast in a car.
And the drinking while driving.
It was quite scary when you thought about it, because stuff like this does happen for real. You know, it was just it showed you what happened to the people who were injured. It took you to hospital, showed and all the people actually died.
You shouldn't take your hands off the wheel at all times, really.
You shouldn't distract the driver at all.
You should encourage him to go faster or turn up the music.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't start arguing, because that could distract the driver and you could lose his concentration.
Or you shouldn't use your mobile phone while driving either.
You've learnt a lot from this.
It was shocking what happens. Yeah, it was surprising about how easily you can get distracted when you're like driving by the passengers and stuff.
It like shows you how it can be if you was actually in an actual car crash. So it's like can get you a germ.
It was great how they put it together.
It shows you the effects of distractions in the car and what could happen. It also shows you the effects of what actually happens, like afterwards, like how they get you out of the car and stuff.
After this, we all had a turn in the Audi road car, which was there to test our reaction time for pressing the brake pedal. Since we all were given our times, this turned into a competition to see who was the quickest, and Miss Mayfield from the George Farmer asked Shiloh and Jordan what their impressions were.
So Shiloh, how did you get on in the Audi car? What was your results?
My time was 51 seconds, but my distance was 20 metres, just under the stopping time.
And you're happy with that?
Yes.
Jordan, what did you have to do in the actual car in the Audi?
You had to put your foot where the accelerator was, so you knew like you was driving, and then when it hit stop you had to press the clutch and hit the brakes as quickly as possible.
Okay, was that difficult?
Yeah, because you weren't expecting it to do it, and then it just pops out at you.
So, before we actually drove a car, we had a chance to try it in the specially driving simulator, which showed typical street scenes and hazards we might see along the route. Many of us found this quite difficult. It also seems easy from a passenger seat until you actually come to driving the car yourself, as Miss Mayfield found when talking to Jake.
I preferred that to the other one because in the other one I kept slipping off the brake, so I weren't really happy with that.
Do you think your hours of computer games have helped you with any of it?
Well, as you go along, your reaction time gets a lot quicker by people jumping out and you have to turn, and it just helps.
Okay, so you could apply it to what you did today.
Others found the whole driving simulation a bit tricky too when they got together afterwards.
Yeah, I couldn't remember how to brake, and then it took me 12 metres before I started braking.
So you've been dead long
I
before
had
you even started
5.8
braking.
My stop seconds were like 2.7 seconds.
knocked him over, you would have run him flat.
But I was going about, what were you doing, 30 miles an hour?
Yeah, they said 30. I was tempted to put it up on 6th gear and go full out. They said
It's the stop sign thing come up, I was just going to keep going up gears until they did.
No,
I got into 4th gear.
He said stop at 3.
He put me up to 4th.
I got put up to 4th as well. Because it wouldn't go quick enough in third. I had my foot right down on the pedal.
Unusually, there on that day was a Harris hawk called Merlin, which helped us appreciate its amazing powers of observation and anticipation, and it was explained to us that these are the sorts of skills that we as young drivers needed to develop in order for us to think ahead and try to predict problems rather than simply reacting to events in front of our eyes. I asked Jack why he thought seeing the hawk was relevant to learning to drive.
Yeah, because like, it shows you like, all the hand-eye coordinations and always to be looking what you're doing and stuff.
Despite our nervousness, some of us actually held the bird, and Jan asked Jack whether he thought it was scary.
Yeah, because like, I don't like birds that much.
You don't like birds?
No.
What made you go and have that experience?
I wanted to face my fear.
Wow, well done. So can you describe to us how that felt?
I don't know, it's scary-ish.
Was it?
Yeah.
You felt scared?
Yeah.
Did he nip you at all? Did you feel, could you feel his claws?
No.
Was there anything special about the bird that you thought was special? Would he make a good pet?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Would you have him as a pet?
Yeah.
No.
Jan also asked Jake if he enjoyed the experience of holding the hawk.
It weren't too bad actually. Once he settles down, he's quite happy just perched there.
So was he friendly?
He was quite friendly, but he'd prefer to stay with his owner. He's happy.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus he likes going to the high perch, so if you hold your hand higher than the other person's, he'll jump up onto that one.
Did he jump up on you?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Didn't you feel frightened?
No, it weren't too bad actually.
Made me feel frightened just looking at him. So, do you think Merlin is a good mascot for the road safety?
I think he's a bit of both really, because he always looks where he's going to go and always plans ahead, but I don't really see how a hawk actually goes with it, because that flies and not really on the road or anything.
Have you ever been that close to that sort of a bird before?
Not a hunting one, no.
No, I mean the claws.
Yeah, they are
Didn't they
quite
put you
big.
off?
No, it weren't too bad,
Put me
because
off.
as long as you got the glove on, you can't really
Could you feel its claws?
only if you tensed it a bit, but not really.
So you didn't really feel the claws?
No, as long as you got the glove on.
What
it's
about his
fine.
beak? Did his beak come down or not?
No, he's just happy, stood up and,
So
well...
what's the best experience so far?
Probably holding Merlin, because he is quite an extraordinary bird.
We then got to, for many, what was the highlight of the day, actually driving the car. This always seems easy when your mum or dad is driving, but most of us found that it took some getting used to. 3 of us got into the car, either the Mini or the Fiesta, and took turns driving it. And here's a few clips we took from people.
So we started driving a black Ford car, and we was instructed on all the safety regulations before we started to drive. And
basically we just did some reversing and basic driving skills.
and got used to the way that the car drives just before we started to do more difficult things round the course.
The hardest bit was to learning your lefts and rights, because, and changing gear was hard at times. I was used to stall it.
Try not to stall the car was a bit...
Yeah.
Finally, to round off the day, we went for a ride in a specially adapted skid car, which had been modified to allow the driver to experience different situations that a driver might encounter whilst driving on ice, snow or rain. Because none of us were drivers, we were passengers in the car, and Robin Marden, our Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership host for the day, drove us round a specially prepared course. As you can hear, several of us came away very impressed by the experience.
That was amazing. We just come out of the skids car, and we're both amazed on how many different kinds of skids there are and what kind of things could happen.
I'm surprised it could turn that angle, that fast, that speed.
No, there's different kinds of skids. There's under skids, over skids, and oversteer. understeer, oversteer, and there's another one as well. It also shows the dangers of what could happen if. It's not the road which flips the car over, it's the curbs and the bumps in the road as well. You have to be careful of pedestrians. I mean, it's okay here because it was just clear there's nobody in the way, but
it's an open track.
We've learnt a lot today about the skid car and everything.
I don't think I'd do that again, would you?
But the actual experience was quite amazing.
So, at the end of the day, host Robin Marden thanked us all for coming and said he'd hoped we all learned something from this experience.
I hope you've enjoyed today. I hope you've enjoyed the experience there. We've taken you from your age up to 18 in a safe way, but also showed you the sort of experiences that you can have if you push the limits too far. So please, as passengers, as drivers, when you get to that stage, do everything safely and make sure that you're not another statistic on the road here in Lincolnshire. I hope you've enjoyed the day. I'm looking forward to the evening when we'll be seeing all of you, I guess, or some of you anyway. Please give me some feedback so that we know how things have gone today. It's the first time we've tried this. If we can make any adjustments, that's great. Make it better, if it's good, let us know.
I'm sure you have all had a lovely time, and I think the staff have been absolutely amazing. They've treated you really well. I'm sure you'll all agree. Let's thank them in the usual way, shall we?
Thank you very much.
That was Drive by the Cars, and that seems an appropriate song for the day we all had. Incidentally, that song was also used by Live Aid as a music backdrop to the appeal they held for funds to help relieve starvation in Africa in 1985. And the Live Aid campaign, organised by Bob Geldof and Majua, celebrated its 25th anniversary last week. So, after all the excitement of the day, we all took time to reflect on what we had learned, and Jack Whetstone, one of the students, was interviewed a week later by Chris Carter live on Tulip Radio's lunchtime show, and this is what happened.
107.5 Spalding's Tulip Radio.
Tulip Radio is currently doing a course with various schools around the area. The course is a thing called School Sound. And I've got in the studio with me right now Jack Whetstone. Hi, Jack.
Alright.
How are you?
Alright.
Good. And you're from Glebe Boys, aren't you?
Yeah.
And how old are you?
15.
Right, now you've been on this School Sound project we're doing with you, that's from Glebe Boys also. We've got Priory. Who else have we got?
Thomas Carley.
That's right. Anyone else?
No, and Tina and Kevin.
Don't forget that. Exactly right. So a bunch of schools anyway. Have you enjoyed taking part in the School Sound thing?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. There's been some difficult parts of it, but it's been pretty...
What's difficult?
Like when we were in the car driving with the...
right, just tell a listener about that then. This is the favourite bit, was it?
Links Road Safety Partnership.
Yeah.
We were driving cars and riding bikes and, like, how to be safe.
I'm going to stop you right there. You're 15 years old, right?
Yeah.
How come you're driving cars?
I don't know, we just went there and they just... It was like they had the brake and accelerator and we had the brake and accelerator and clutch.
Right.
And if we went a bit too fast or a bit too slow, they would help us.
Right. But you were actually physically driving the car?
Yeah, we were doing the gears and all that. We were staying in gear 1, but that's not the point.
Yeah, and you enjoyed doing that, I guess?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Do you think that'll teach you lessons in future life?
Yeah, because when you go for your driving test, you don't really know what you're doing until you're actually there.
Did the car feel funny in your hands?
Yeah, it was like the steering wheel, like there was the Ford Focus and the Mini.
Yeah.
One had the big steering wheel and one had the little steering wheel.
Right.
Like I was in the Mini and it was tiny, and then there was the little Ford Focus, but it was bigger than the Mini.
And what do you think is the best car? Would you enjoy driving?
I like the Mini because it was like...
Yeah. I think most people said the Mini was the best car, didn't they?
Yeah.
But the Focus is a good car to learn to drive in as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, the Focus is alright. I just preferred the Mini.
Yeah. Right. So it was a really good day then?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I would recommend it to anyone that would want to do it with any links, radio and all that.
Yeah. And that's the best part of this course, was it?
Yeah, driving the cars and simulators and everything.
Did you know what to expect when you went up there?
No, I got into school and they told me that we were going and I was like, oh, right.
And you didn't have any idea what you were going to do?
No, and then we got there and it turned out to be pretty good.
Good. It was a nice day too, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which did help. If it had been raining, you wouldn't have liked it quite so much, I don't think.
No, because I would have been cold.
That's exactly right. So, just tell the listeners what else you did. You drove the car, what else was there?
There was a bus and it had a simulator in there and we accelerated and we had to stop to see what our reaction time was. And then there was videos about what happened if you come off a moped going like certain miles per hour.
Right. Just tell us, are you going to tell us what your reaction time was? Can you remember?
I think because it was 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I think it was 31 on something.
Right.
And then
what time did it take you to stop, you know?
No, I don't. I've got the piece of paper at home.
Yeah, it's quick, was it? You were quick. All right. Were you the best of them or not?
I don't know. I didn't really. Like, we went round asking him like for a little competition, but I didn't get to everyone.
No. So what else was there?
There was a Peugeot, and you sat in it, and it was just like hydraulics and everything. And there was a little LCD TV there showing us 3 people in the car driving. He'd only had his driver's license for a while.
Yeah.
And he crashed, and we had all the feeling of what it was like.
I see. So really, it's like being in an accident.
Yeah.
Right. Got you. Which I think was probably fairly scary, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's something you really don't want to get involved with in the future.
Yeah.
That's part of the Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership bit of kit, isn't it? That'll be at the Lincolnshire show this week.
It was really good.
Yeah. Good. Anything else you did? Was it the Hawk you saw?
Yeah, we saw the Hawk. My mate got to hold it, but I was going to ask, but then I thought, nah, it's a bit too big to hold.
Why? What's wrong with a Hawk? It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really like birds that much.
But 2 or 3 people did hold a Hawk, didn't they?
Yeah.
Good. Well, these pictures will be on their website in due course. Would you recommend this course to other people?
Yeah, anyone that can have a chance to do it with a radio station or something, I'd do it because it was a real good time.
And do you think you really learned something about road safety?
Yeah, I learnt a lot about safety, like what kind of gear to wear when you're on the road.
Yeah.
How to drive safety.
Yeah.
And just keep safe.
And do you think you'll be able to use those experiences in your driving career when you start?
Yeah, not too long to wait.
No, not long now, but you've actually physically driven a car, which for a 15-year-old is quite something, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you've done it legally.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was smart.
Jack Weston, that's great. Thank you very much for talking to us today. I'm glad you enjoyed that. We shall see you next time.
Bye.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's Jack Wexton there, who was on the School Sound course. He's on the School Sound course and just telling us what happened at the Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership Day, which Tulip Radio held a few weeks ago now. Now, we're in the middle of doing...
The following week, we had a visit from Robin Marden of the Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership, and we all discussed the day we had with him, which was the very first that they held for schools at their new base. Jake asked a few questions about his thought and the following answers.
Hello, my name is Jake Parker-Barkin and I'm here with Robin. So Robin, have you got any ideas for activities to put into the next workshop?
I feel the day was very successful, that it was fun for everybody, which is the important thing. This was a first for us in the form that we've had. We had it.
So, Robin and the team at the Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership seem to have enjoyed putting the day on, and it was felt very worthwhile. For our part, we learned that we need to become a bit more observant about the roads and the road conditions, and try to plan ahead when we started to learn to drive and also to drive safer. To highlight these road safety aspects, Dom and Fabio put together a road safety rap, which we felt you'd like to hear.
Always fasten seatbelts. Drive within the speed limit. Yo. Always drive with the road conditions. Always take care at a junction. Always keep your distance from other vehicles. Always wear your seatbelt. Be considerate to the other rules. Users. Never drive when you're tired. Never overtake a white lines. Never drink and drive. Never use a health a mobile phone while driving. Be patient when overtaking.
With the World Cup just finished, some felt that we should try to use sport as a way of letting our new residents know of various events to take place locally to us in Spalding. So, Dominic, who's local to Spalding, Fabio from Portugal, and Mateus from Poland put together a couple of sports reports. Here's Dom and Mateus talking about archery.
A local archer has become the junior national champion.
Lokalny łucznik został młodym czempionem.
12-year-old Abby Spinks of Spalding High School has risen to stardom following her success at the Junior Outdoor National Championship.
12-letnia Abby Spinks pochodzenia ze szkoły Spalding High School osiągnęła wielki sukces w zawodach dla młodych łuczników.
Abby has broken the country and club record and scored a 1,345 points out of a possible 1,440 at the competition.
Abi pobiła rekordową sumę. Zdobyła 1345 punktów z 1400 możliwych w zawodach.
This success was achieved despite Abby being diagnosed with eyesight problems from the age of 5.
To jest wielki sukces, ponieważ miała problemy z oczami w wieku 5 lat.
Proud father Simon said, "For my own daughter to be national champion, it is a dream come true. And I find myself looking at her, amazed and bursting with pride."
Dumny ojciec powiedział, z mojego własnego nauczania została królowym czempionem. To jest marzenie, które się spełniło.
And here's Dom and Fabio doing the same thing.
A local archer has become the junior national champion.
Uma menina local foi sagrada campeã de arco e flecha.
12-year-old Abby Spinks of Spalding High School has risen to stardom following her success at the Junior Outdoor National Championship.
A menina de 12 anos, Abby Spink, da escola High School em Spalding, foi sagrada campeã de júniores de arco e flecha.
Abby has broken the country and club records and scored 1,345 points out of a possible 1,440 at the competition.
Abby conseguiu bater o recorde do país e do clube, conseguindo pontuar 1.345 pontos de máximo de pontos de 1.440 na competição.
This success was achieved despite Abby being diagnosed with eyesight problems from the age of 5.
Isto foi sucesso depois da Abby ser diagnosticada com problema de olhos aos 5 anos de idade.
Proud father Simon said, "For my own daughter to be national champion, a dream come true. I find myself looking at her, amazed and bursting with pride."
O pai orgulhoso Simon diz, para a minha filha ser campeã nacional foi sonho tornado realidade. Eu fico muito contente por ela e cada vez que olho para ela sinto-me muito orgulhoso.
To conclude our sport theme, we tried to get away from the recent World Cup since no one on the course had any Spanish or Dutch relations. One of the huge benefits of sport is the ability to bring together competitors from different cultures. So, we thought that the brief insight into local cricket, the most traditional of English games, might provide a bit of welcome relief and give a flavour of what happens on many of the English village green most summer weekends. Here's Tom and Matthias.
The season so far for Pinchbeck Cricket Club.
Sezon wielkiego Pinchbecku Inny Club.
Pinchbeck have played 13 matches this season. They've won 10 of them and only lost 3.
Pinchbeck zagrał 13 meczy w tym sezonie. Wygrali 10 z 13 i przegrali tylko 3.
This includes 4 wins out of 5 in the RP League, which puts them 4th position in the league table.
Więc 4 wygrane daje im 5. miejsce w RPA Smith. Wiadomo, lecz są na 4. pozycji.
The standout performances of the season so far are Jamie Powers 98 knocked out Bourne's Optimus, which was part of the partnership of 162 with Richie Relay.
James Parry z 91 nie wypalił przed Bourne Optimus, czyli to było tak cześć, że 162 z przełomami Rich Shelley.
And Sun touched 20 wickets, including bowling 6 for 20 against Grimsby.
Jak tato mnie bardzo dobrze powiedzieli przez ten rok, więc następnym będzie Andrew End.
Jazz Tots had a good performance following a year of absence.
Jak w nowym roku będzie dobrze, fajnie.
New players Andrew Beeston, Danny Jackson have made a significant impact.
Nowy gracz Andrew Beeston and Danny Jackson spodobali się bardzo drużynie.
And